सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरते यौपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओमित्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ओमिति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम् तदनन्यत्वम् आरम्भणशब्दादिभ्यः objection was raised by the Bheda-Bhedavadi. Nanu anekatmakam brahma yatha vrukshah aneka shakah evam aneka shakti pravritti yuktam brahma. We say that Brahman has internal diversity. Diversity contained within itself, just as the tree is one from the standpoint of tree and it has manyness from the standpoint of the various branches, etc. Yathacha samudratmana ekatvam phenatarangadyatmana nanatvam. From the standpoint of samudra or ocean, it is one. Standpoint of the foam and the bubble and the waves, it is many. As so, yathacha mrudatmana egatvam Ghatasharavadiyatmana nanatvam. As cause, like clay, it is one, as effects such as the parts, it is many. So as Swagata Bheda, just as in case of a tree, or the parts and the whole, just as the ocean and the waves, or as cause and effect, just as the clay is the cause and the parts are the effect. So tatra egatvam jnanat moksha vyavahara sechyati. By knowing Brahman, which is one, which is cause, or the whole, then one gets liberated. So moksha vyavahara, that also can be explained well. Nanatvam tu karma kanda shayau laukika vedika vyavaharo sechyata. And from the standpoint of the manyness or diversity, the Laukika and Vedika Vyavahara also can very well be explained. Evam cha mridali drishtantah anurupaha bhavishyanti. It's only that way that the examples of clay etc. will become appropriate. Then all Vyavahara can be properly explained. Hence is given Naivam Syat Bheda Bhedamate Sarvavahasta Siddhi Atyanta Bhede Dvaitaman Bhadaha. So, by Bheda Bhedamata, all Vyavahara can be explained. On the other hand, when the Bheda, the Dvaitamata is there, it contradicts our perception, etc. This view is dushayati, is faulted. Naivam syadati, that thinking is not right. To explain our Vyavahara in duality, there is no need to assume that duality is real. This is the Vedantin's main point. That yes, there is duality as though duality. And that as though duality is quite adequate to explain all the Vyavahara or interaction in our daily life as well as in the Vedic rituals, etc. And what is non-dual, by knowing which the moksha or the liberation is accomplished. Mritika ityeva satyamedi prakriti matrasya drishtante satyate avadharanat. In Drishtanta illustration is said, Mritika ityeva satyam. Mritika alone, as Mritika alone, it is real. So Prakriti Matrasya, by iti is meant Prakriti Matram. Whatever is Upadana Karanam, whatever is the material cause, is Satyam, is real. Vacharamana Shabdena cha Vikara Jatasya Anurtattva Abhidanat. And by the words Vacharamana, it has its origin only in the speech. Vikara Jatasya Anurtattva Abhidanat. That whatever Vikara is there, whatever effect is there, is anutam, is false, is mithya, is unreal. Dashtantikevi aitidatmaidam saram tat satyamiti cha paramakaranasya vaikasya satyatva avadharanat. Just as in Drishtanta, this is the Prakriti or the material cause is real, so also in Dashtanta, aitidatmaidam saram tat satyam. Even all this has that Sat as essence, and that alone is Satyam of the truth. So Paramakaranasya Ekasya Satyatva Avadharanat. So only one, Paramakaranam, the ultimate cause is one, and that is real. Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketo Idija Sharirasya Brahma Bhavopadeshat. Also, Sharira, the Jivatma, so Brahma Bhavopadeshat, Jivatma is taught that you are Brahma. meaning that the one who looks upon oneself as Sharira or Jiva is in reality nothing but Brahman. Swayam prasiddham etat Sharirasya Brahmatvatma upadishyate. When the Upanishad says you are Brahman, there is no becoming involved here. It is simply revealing the reality about you. Shvetaketu needs to know the reality about his own self. That's all. Just as the 10th man needs to know the reality about himself, then only all his problems can be solved. Because he takes himself to be quite contrary to what he really is, so also the one who is in reality Brahman takes himself to be Jivatma or Shariratma. So confined within the body. So he needs to be told that you are Brahman. Swayam prasiddham hi etat Sharirasya Brahmatvatma upadishyate. And when Shvetaketu is told that you are Brahman, he is simply told about an existing fact, a self-established fact that Atma indeed is Brahman. Yatantara prasadyam, not that you have to become Brahman. Somebody said, you must change the sentence, Tattvamasi, Tattvam Bhavishyasi. And you will become Brahma by meditation. So that is the statement of Upasana. Says, no, this statement of knowledge, revealing what is an existing reality, what in reality exists. Atasya idam shastriyam brahmatmatvam avagamyamanam swabhavikasya shariratmatvasya bhadagam sampadhyate. So when this Upadesha is given, what does it do? When Shvetaketu is told you are Brahman, what does it do to him? Shastriyam brahmatmatvam avagamyamanam. Brahmatmatvam, that Atma is Brahman. The identity of Brahman and Atma, which is what the Shastra, the scripture teaches. Avagamyamanam. When identity is realized, Swabhavikasya Shariratmatvasya Bhadagam Sampadhyate. It eliminates the Shariratmatvasya Bhadagam Swabhavikasya. The notion that I am this body, or notion that I am confined to the body, which notion is born of ignorance, which is beginningless, that notion is eliminated, removed. Rajvadi buddhaiva sarpadi buddhinam. Just as a person who takes an object as a snake, he is told, hey, this is the rope, and how the notion of snake that goes away and is replaced by the knowledge of the what is true, namely the rope. So also that I am a jiva, that notion goes away. Instead now is the notion I am Brahman. Bhadite cha shariratmatve tadashraya samasta swabhavika vyavahara bhadito bhavati. And when he realizes that I am Brahman, I am akarta, I am bhokta, naiva kinchit karometi, when he sees this fact, then karmanyabhi pravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti sa. Then even though he appears to be engaged in all kinds of activities, in reality he does not do, meaning that for the wise person there is no vyavahara. The wise person appears to be doing vyavahara, but in reality there is no vyavahara. Yat prasiddhe nanatvaamsha aparo brahmana kalpyeta. Hey Purvapakshi, you are imagining that Brahman has an internal diversity, and therefore the oneness also is true, the diversity also is true, this view have adopted simply to explain the Vyavahara. That unless the duality is real, how can there be Vyavahara? How can there be this interaction or transaction in the realm of duality if duality is not real? To explain Vyavahara, duality has to be accepted as real. Just as the Sankhya say that, how can Atma be one? When somebody is happy, some other person is unhappy. When one is born, other person is dying. How can there be this diverse kind of Vyavahara? If Atma were one, then if one is happy, everybody should be happy because Atma is one. So Vedanta says that in order to explain this diversity, you do not have to imagine the multiplicity of the Atma, because it is multiplicity of mind that can very well explain the Vyavahara of Sukhitvam, Dukhitvam, etc. And for that, you don't need to imagine the multiplicity of Atma. Similarly, here also Purva Pakshi is told that you do not have to imagine a real duality of Bhokta and Bhogya to explain that Bhokta Bhogya Vyavahara. The interaction between subject-object doesn't require that they should be real. In dream also the same thing takes place. In dream also the Vyavahara of the Bhokta Bhogya takes place, and there it appears as though it is real. So just because you see something or because some Vyavahara or interaction takes place does not mean that it has to be real. Darshayate cha yatrutasya sarvam atmeva bhut tatkenikam pashyed ityadina. So by this famous statement, yatrutasya sarvam atmeva bhut, when for this wise person everything has become the self, meaning that wise person recognizes what is myself. Then who will see that? This question is often asked, Swamiji, you say that Brahman is my own nature, then who is to worship whom? He says that is okay when you really see that fact. Until then you worship. But once then a person sees the fact of oneself being Brahman, oneself being the non-dual self, all there is self alone. So what was formerly thought to be non-self, namely the world, namely the object, is now recognized as the self because the very idea of self has undergone a transformation. As long as I look upon myself as an embodied being, so long whatever is outside the body is thought to be different from myself. But when my own perception of myself changes, then I am not a Nama Rupa, I am Asti Bhati Priyam. Then I see that whatever Nama Rupa is there is Asti Bhati Priyam, and therefore there is no duality. Then seer also is, what was thought to be seer earlier also is Asti Bhati Priyam, and what was thought to be seen also is Asti Bhati Priyam, and what was thought to be seeing also is Asti Bhati Priyam. So seer, seen, seeing, means of seeing, all of which were formerly thought to be different from each other, all of them are now recognized to be nothing but Asti Bhati Priyam. Now who will see with what? Because with what I was seeing and the one who was seeing and what was being seen is all reduced to one thing, Asti Bhati Priyam, the self. Then there is no real Vyavahara of the seer and the seen. Ityadina Brahmatmatu darshanam prati samastasya kriyakarga phalalakshanasya vyavaharasya abhavam darshayati. Shruti shows an absence. All the Vyavahara involving Kriya, Karaka, Phala, an action, accessories, and the outcome. All that Vyavahara is absent in case of the wise person. Brahmayeva tena gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Brahmarpanam, Brahma Havehi, Brahmagnau, Brahmanahutam. When in the person of the wise person, everything is Brahman, including his own self. Brahma evate Brahma Karma Samadhina. For him, Brahma alone is karma. There is nothing other than Brahman. His mind is only concentrated in Brahman. Brahma evatena gantavyam. Brahman alone is what he achieves. Or Brahman is what he has already achieved on account of seeing everything as Brahman. On the page 376 now, continuing. So Ratnava said, Jnanat Prag Kalpita Nanatvena Vyavhara Upapattau Nanatvasya Satyatva Asiddhe. Jnanat Prag Kalpita Nanatvena Vyavhara Upapattau. That Jnanat Prag. So before the knowledge of non-duality, before the knowledge of reality, Kalpita Nanatvena. At that time, Nanatva, the duality, the diversity which is taken in the real, is in fact Kalpita, is in fact imaginary, projected. Vyavhara Upapattau. Just as in dream, that whole duality is projected by the mind, and then also Vyavhara is possible because of ignorance. So Vyavhara can be explained by ignorance rather than by real. So two ways Vyavhara can be explained. Either if the duality is real or it is imaginary. So Kalpita Nanatvena Vyavhara Upapattau. Even by the duality which is kalpita or imagined, Vyavhara Upapattau, the Vyavhara can very well be explained logically. Nanatvasya Satyatva Asiddhe. Therefore, just because there is Vyavhara, just because there is interaction such as that between the subject and object, does not mean that the duality of the subject-object is real. It doesn't have to be real, it can very well be imaginary, and still, as long as ignorance is there, so long the Vyavhara will take place. But then say Ratnava Yattu Pramatruttvadi Vyavharaha Satya eva Moksha avasthayam Nivartate iti. So this Bheda Bhedavadi says that Pramatruttvadi Vyavharaha, that I am a Pramata, I am a knower. The world is the object of knowledge, and then there is knowing, a means of knowledge. I am a Pramata, I am a Karta, I am a doer. Karta, Karma, Karana, Kriya, Bhokta, Bhogya, Bhoga, and so all of these Vyavharas Satya eva, Purvapakshi says that this Vyavhara is Satya and Moksha avasthayam nivardate. So he has his own explanation of what the Shruti says. Yatvasya sarvam atmeva abhut tat kenikam pashyet is Shruti statement. When for the wise person everything has become the self, then who will see with what? That is a statement of moksha avastha. That is not a statement of the Vyavhara in duality. That is a statement of moksha avastha. So what the Shruti says by that statement is that the duality which was real, now that duality is eliminated by knowledge. So real duality is eliminated by knowledge. So as long as there is bondage, that is the real Vyavhara. And when the knowledge takes place of the non-duality, then there is moksha, then there is no vyavahara. This is what the Shruti means. Iti. Tanna ityaha. That is not the intention of the Shruti. That is not what the Shruti wants to convey, that this is only a state of moksha. And that non-duality is only when there is moksha, and it is not there when there is bondage. So what the Purvapakshi says is, the non-duality is there in the state of liberation. In the state of bondage, duality is real. In state of liberation, non-duality is real. That way also the Vyavahara can be very well explained. Tanna, that not so, that is not so. Itya nachayameti. Bhashyakara says, page 376. Nachayam vyavahara abhavaha avastha vishesha nibandha nibaddha abhidhiyate iti yuktam vaktum tattvamasi iti brahmatma bhavasya anavastha vishesha nibandhanatvat. नच अयम व्यवहार भाव अवस्था विशेष निबंधन और निबद्ध. This vyavahara bhava. So in absence of vyavahara, absence of transaction or interaction, which is described by the Shruti, tat kenakam pashyed. That shows what? Vyavahara abhava. So, kena kaha kam pashyed. Who will see what with what? So therefore, that vyavahara involved in the kriya, karaka, phala is not there. So nacha ayam vyavahara avastha vishesha nibandhana. Don't think that this statement of Shruti applies only in the moksha. Iti yuktam vaktum. It is not right that there is a change that happens by moksha. What the Purvapakshi says is that the knowledge brings about a change. And now there is no vyavahara because of knowledge. There was vyavahara when there was ignorance. That is not right to say that this vyavahara is avastha vishesha, meaning that it is a description of the moksha avastha, the state of liberation, and that the non-duality does not apply to the state of bondage. That is not so. We say that Atma is Brahman regardless of whether there is knowledge or not. And vyavahara is mithya even if you may take it to be real. Even when you take the vyavahara to be real, in fact it is mithya, as in a dream. So nachayam vyavahara bhavaha avastha vishesha nibaddha abhidhyate iti yuktam vaktum tattvamasi iti brahmat bhavasya anavastha vishesha nibandhanatvat. Or avastha vishesha anibandhanatvat. Tattvamasi. That thou art, you are Brahman. It doesn't say that you are Brahman only when you know that you are Brahman, and you are not Brahman when you do not know it. So Tattvamasi, that you are Brahman is simply an expression of reality. It reveals what is true. It is not that Shvetaketu is Brahman because he is an enlightened person. And before he was a jiva, and now he has become Brahman. That knowledge has bring about a transformation. It cannot be. Because Shruti says Tattvamasi. You are Brahman. And this is told to whom? The one who does not know that I am Brahman. An ignorant person is told that you are Brahman. Just as a statement, you are the 10th man, is told to the one who doesn't know that he is 10th man. But he is 10th man even when he does not know. And so also a Shvetaketu or Jivatma is Brahman even when he does not know. And so that Atma is Brahman is not dependent upon an avastha or a state. That Atma is Brahman is a reality existing in all the states, whether it is ignorance or knowledge. Sri Ratnavara samsara satyatve tadavasthayam jivasya brahmatvam na syat. If samsara is real, if jivatvam is real, then as long as this person is ignorant, he is not a Brahman, then he can't be told you are a Brahman. This unconditional statement, you are a Brahman, which does not assume any avastha. It is a statement of its reality that is existing independent of time, place and condition. That's called Satyam. That Shvetaketu is Brahman is not dependent upon a certain time or a place or a condition or an avastha or a state. The samsara satyatve tadavasthayam jivasya brahmatvam na syat. If samsara was real, duality was real, being limited also was real, then tadavasthayam, in the state of ignorance, then Jiva is in fact, Atma is in fact not Brahman. Atma is limited according to the Purva Pakshi. Brahmatvam na syat, then Atma would not be Brahman. Bheda bhedayoho ekada ekatra virodhat. Because at one time, in one place, two contradictory things or two mutually exclusive things cannot exist at the same time, at the same place. Tamah prakashavada, like darkness and light, which are light which excludes darkness. Darkness cannot exist where the light is at the same time, at the same place. Darkness can exist someplace else, and light can be some places, but they cannot be together at the same time because mutually exclusive. Or at least the light excludes the darkness. So also the knowledge excludes or dispels ignorance. So bheda bhedayoho ekatra virodhat. You say that Shvetaketu is Jivatma as long as he does not know. And this ignorant Shvetaketu is being told you are Brahman. So according to you, as long as Shvetaketu does not know that he is Brahman, he is Jivatma. But the Upanishad says you are Brahman, and this is being told to an ignorant person who thinks that I am Jivatma, is being told you are Brahman. And so, how can Jivatvam and Brahmatvam, these two contradictory things, how can they exist at one time in one location? Ataha asamsari brahma abhedasya sadatanattva avagamat samsaropi mithyaeva ityartha. Therefore, asamsari brahma abhedasya sanatanatva avagamat. We say that Atma is Brahman, which is a samsari always. Whether you know or not, you are limitless. That you are limitless does not depend upon your knowledge. That this is gold. Even when you take it to be brass, it is still gold. And so, a sandalwood is a fragrant wood, even when it appears to be stinking. Because sandalwood being left in water for a length of time, the outer surface of sandalwood starts stinking, it gets rotted, starts stinking. That doesn't mean that sandalwood has become stinking, it is still fragrant even when it appears to be stinking. And so also, you are Brahman, even when you think that you are a helpless creature, even then also you are Brahman. अतः असंसारी ब्रह्म अभेदस्य सदातनत्व अवगमात्. Therefore, we say that the identity of Brahman and Atma is sadatanam, all the time, not dependent upon the state of knowledge or ignorance or liberation or bondage. Tasmat samsaropi mithya eva ityartha. Therefore, samsara is mithya. Jivatva is mithya basically. He is told that you are Brahman. You are always Brahman. That means Jivatvam is mithya, is merely a projection. And then everything born out of Jivatvam also is mithya. So samsara is mithya. Then says Ratnavara Kincha Yatha loke kaschita taskar buddhya bhatahi gruhitaha anurtavadi chet tapta parshum grunnadi saddahyate badhyate cha tatha nanatvadi dahyate badhyate cha badhyate satyavadi chet na dahyate muchyate cha. So now referring to the same 6th chapter of Chhandogya Upanishad, where the example of this thief is given, that some policeman brought a man saying that this person is a thief. So now, how to determine whether he is a thief or not? So those days apparently they had a method of ascertaining whether this person is telling, he says, I am not a thief. Police say that he is thief. He says, I am not thief. So whether what he says is truth or not, how do you determine? For that there was this test, tapta parashu. So one parashu is brought and then it is heated, red hot, and this person is asked to hold it in his hand. If dakhyate badhyate cha, if his hand gets burned, that means that he is lying. His hand does not get burned, means he is true, he is honest. So it's amazing how the determination of whether a person is right or whether he is honest or is lying was carried out by in this manner, rather a crude manner. But the fellow will be burned, right away he will be arrested. He is not get burned, he is muchyate, he is released. So kincha yathaloke kaschita samvan taskar buddhya bhatahi gruhitaha. Bhata means the policeman. Just as policeman has brought this person, taskar buddhya, thinking that he is a thief. Anurtavadi chet tapta parshum grunadi sadahyade badhyade cha. That person claims, I am not a thief. If he is anurtavadi, he is telling a lie, then when he holds that red hot parashu, then the badhyade is burned and he is arrested also. Tatha nanatvadi dahyate badhyate cha satyavadi chet na dahyate muchyate cha. Similarly also, Chhandogya says, nanatvadi, who says that I am a jiva, that the duality is real, is dahyate, baddhyate cha. He is scorched by the fire of samsara and he is bound by ignorance. Satyavadi chet na dakhyate muchyate cha. And if he says, I am Brahman, so he says, I am Brahman. If he is Anutavadi, telling a lie, then he will be burnt. I am Brahman when he is telling the truth. If that is truth, then he is not burnt. Tatha aitadatmadam sarvamiti ekatodarshi muchyate. So also one who says aitadatmadam sarvam, all this has the Sat as the Atma. All of these are Sat, Asti, Bhati, Priyam as the Atma, as the essence. And that essence is the reality. And that I am. Id ekatodarshi muchyate. Here we are told that ekatodarshi, one who sees that non-duality, muchyate, is liberated. Idi Shuddha Dushtantena ekatvam satyam nanatvam mithya. So by the Dushtanta provided by the Shruti, it is very clear that ekatvam satyam, the non-duality is true, nanatvam, the duality is false. Yaha taskarati, Bhashyakara says, taskara dushtantena cha anruta abhisandasya bandhanam satyabhisandasya cha moksham darshayan ekatmatvam eva ekam पारमार्थिकम दर्शयति. Taskara dushtantena cha, also by the simile of a taskara or a thief. Under the abhisandasya bandhanam, one who talks about, who has a false notion or false knowledge is bound. Satya abhisandasya cha moksham darshayan, and one who sees the reality, who knows the reality, or it says talk, abhisandhi means knowing. So one who talks about reality, one who says I am Brahman, moksha, so moksham darshan, he is liberated. Ekatvam eva ekam paramathikam darshayati. Therefore ekatvam eva ekam paramathikam, it is a non-duality, that alone is a absolutely real. This is what is said by the simile of the thief. Further, mithya jnana vijrumbhitam cha nanatvam. In nanatvam, the duality is mithya jnana vijrumbhitam, is only projected by the false knowledge, by ignorance. कथम एतावता सत्यत्वम एकस्यैव नियम्यते तत्राह. So by the simile of the thief, how to ascertain that only non-duality is real? How did you arrive at that conclusion? So no doubt the Shruti gives the example of simile of a thief. And a thief is telling the truth, he is released. He tells false, he tells a lie, he is arrested. So a person says truth, he is liberated. He tells a lie, he is bound. From that, how do you conclude that non-duality is real? So Bhashyaka says, Ubhayati, Ubhay satyatayam hi katham vyavahara gocharopi jantuhu andra abhisandaha iti uchyeta. Where satyatayam? If according to you both are real, what is Bheda Bhedavada? That Bheda also is real, Abheda also is real. In that case, if somebody who says that I am a Jiva also is right, somebody says I am Brahman also is right. From the standpoint of the Vyavahara, I am Jiva. From the standpoint of the wholeness, I am Brahman. So as from standpoint of part, I am a Jiva. Standpoint of whole, I am Brahman. So both are right. But here he says one is right, the other is not right. The simile of the thief says that if he says truth, then he is released. If he tells a lie, he is arrested. That means one that I am a taskara or I am a thief, he is true. I am not a thief, he is false. Where satyatayam? If he is thief also and not a thief also. Suppose both is there. Simultaneously he is thief also and not a thief also. Then how will you arrest him? Because he is right either way. Therefore, where satyatayam? If Bheda and Abheda both were real, Katham Vyavahar Gocharovi Jantuhu. A Jantu, the Jivatma, who is Vyavahar Gochara means what? Nanatva Vyavahara Ashraya, who gives reality to the Vyavahara, the interaction of duality, this Jivatma. How can you say it to be wrong? Because according to you, the duality also is right. Therefore, this Jivatma, this person who resorts to the interaction in the realm of duality, he cannot be said to be wrong because according to you, he is also right. That's how you want to justify Vyavahara. But Shruti clearly says that one is right and one is wrong. Therefore, Ekatvam is right, Nanatvam is wrong. This is Nanatva Nindayapi Ekattvameva Satyamiti Aha. Nanatvam Nindayapi, and also because Shruti condemns the duality. Therefore also non-duality must be real. See, here also is a question of the Tatparya Nischaya of the Shruti. What is that the Shruti is teaching? He has his own interpretation. Very often the question arises, Swamiji, how come these different philosophies came? When scriptures are one and Upanishads are one, Brahma Sutra is one, Bhagavad Gita is one, this is the Prasthanatrayi. And all the Acharyas have commented upon this Prasthanatrayi. Shankaracharya, who is the Advaitavadi or Kevala Advaitavadi, and Ramanacharya Vishishta Advaitavadi, and Dvaitavadi, and Bheda Bhedavadi, all of these people, for them, this Prasthanatraya is the Pramanam, and the Vallabhacharya would say, Bhagavatam is another Pramanam, ultimate Pramanam. So it doesn't matter, whatever, but then all of them accept this Prasthanatraya Pramanam. All of them have studied and commented upon them. And still they have derived their own viewpoint from these very scriptures. So what is the real thing? So here we are told that one is right, other cannot be right. Either duality is right, then non-duality is wrong. Or non-duality is right, then duality is wrong. He will say duality is right, non-duality is wrong. That interpretation also can be there. But then, Nanatva Nindayapi Ekatvameva Satyam, Shruti very clearly condemns or denounces the duality. Mrutyosya. So Bhashyakara says, Mrutyosya mrutyamapnoti Yahan nanev pashyati iti cha bheda drishtim apavadan eva etad darshayati mrityosya mrityam apnoti yeh nanev pashyati. These are very important statements for the Vedantin. All will be taken as Arthavada by other people, So everybody takes these statements and has their own interpretation. For Vedantin, Tattvamasi is Mahavakya. And this, Neha Nanasti Kinchana, is also a very important statement denouncing duality. For them, Dva Suparna Savida Sakhaya Sudiptat Pavakat Visfulingaha, that example of the fire and spark, that will be literally, they'll take it literally. And this will be interpreted. So here Viparinama, Tattvamasi will be interpreted as Tattvam Bhavishyasi. We say that the Dva Suparna is to be interpreted as one appearing as two. Both have these difficulties because all kinds of statements are there. So there is a view that everything is, so the Upanishads are growing in their, knowledge. In the beginning they thought that this is true, then they realized that no, that's not so, then they realized that. Thus many people, the scholars see a thought development ultimately arriving with non-duality. But we don't see thought development, we see only one thought. Otherwise Upanishad is not pramanam if it is this also and that also and this also. Therefore, the statements which appear to be talking about duality had to be interpreted properly, and statements which deal with non-duality are the primary statements. This is the view of the Vedantin. Mrityos mrityam apnoti. He goes from one death to the other. Yeha nana iva pashyati. The one who as though sees the duality in Brahman goes from one death to the other. Iti cha bheda drishtim apavadan. Apavada means ninda. Bheda drishtim, thus condemning the bheda drishti. Not bheda pratiti but bheda drishti. Pratiti is perception of duality. That is all right. It is the vision of duality that is being condemned, So therefore, bhedustim apavadan eva etad darshayati. Says that non-duality is true by condemning or denouncing the conclusion of duality. Say Ratnava Kincha Asmin Bheda Bhedamate Jivasya Brahma Abheda Jnanat Bheda Jnanivrutte Mukti Ishta Sacha Na Yukta Asmin Bheda Bhedamate. This mata which says Bheda also is true, Abheda also is true, in that opinion Jivasya Brahma Abheda Jnanat Veda Jnana Nivrutti. They say that when this jiva realizes the identity with Brahman, then his notion of difference from Brahman disappears. How can reality disappear? Says, so Brahma Abheda Jnanat Veda Jnana Nivrutti. What is Veda Jnanam? That Brahman is different and I am different. This is Veda Jnanam. Nivrutti. This Veda Jnanam is removed or eliminated when he comes to know that I am Brahman. So when he knows the non-duality with Brahman, the knowledge of, so that knowledge also was right. And that I am different from Brahman also was right. But that right knowledge is now removed by another right knowledge. That I am Brahman. Now that is the thing. How can right knowledge be removed? How can we call it right which can be removed? Sana yukta. This opinion is not right, is not appropriate, is not logical. Veda jnanasya brahmatva anabhivagamat, because according to them, Veda jnanam, that I am different from Brahman, is not considered Brahma, is also considered Prama. So sometimes Prama and Brahma sound similar, and Brahma and Brahma also sound similar, the people confuse. One is Prama, which is what? The true knowledge. Knowledge that cannot be sublated, knowledge that cannot be negated, abadhitam jnanam. That is called jnanam, that is called prama, which is abadhitam, which cannot be negated. Anadhikatam also abadhitam. But they say that earlier knowledge that I am different from Brahman is now negated by the new knowledge I am Brahman. Which means that according to them, that Veda Jnanam, the knowledge of duality with Brahman also was not Brahma, that also was Prama. Veda Jnanasya Brahmatva Anabhivagamat Pramayaha Pramantar Abadhyatvat. Then one knowledge that I am Brahman, which is also Prama, negates another knowledge that I am Jiva, which is also Prama. How can Pramayaha Pramantara Badhyatvam? One valid knowledge cannot dismiss or cannot negate another valid knowledge. That is called valid knowledge, which cannot be under any conditions be negated. So, Nacha Asminiti, Bhashyakara says, Nacha Asmin Darshane Jnanad Moksha Iti Upapadyate Samyak Jnana Apanodyasya Kasyachita Mithya Jnanasya Samsara Karanatvena Anabhyapagamad. Nachasmin darshane, asmin bheda bheda darshane, in this darshanam, in this view of bheda and abheda, jnanad mokshari na upapadyate, that liberation is attained by knowledge that is not tenable, is not in keeping with reason. Samyak jnana apanodyasya kasyajit mithya jnanasya samsara karanatvena anabhivagamat. They do not say that the mithya jnanam is the cause of samsara. They do not accept any mithya jnanam that is the cause of samsara. They don't accept it. So there is no mithya jnanam. Earlier knowledge of duality also was valid knowledge, and now the knowledge of duality, non-duality also is valid knowledge. How can one valid knowledge negate another valid knowledge? That means that they don't accept an invalid knowledge at all. So according to them, the Brahma, the Bandhan also is Satyam, and Satyam cannot be negated by knowledge. What is real cannot be changed by knowledge. Vaiparityasyavi sambhavadi bhavaha. Vaiparityam, because that I am Jiva also can be real, equally real knowledge as I am Brahman. So says Bhashyakara, says Nyaya Vedam Shadiya Avedam Shadiya Bhadyatvat Apanodaniya Abhava Asiddhi Iti Ashankya Vaiparatyasyaphi Sambhavat Maevam. Vedam Shadiya Avedam Shadiya Bhadyatvat. We say the whole knowledge is not negated. Vedam Shadi. Only that conclusion of Bheda, that aspect of the Bheda or the diversity alone is negated by the knowledge of Abheda. Therefore, apanodaniya abhava asiddhi. So that there is nothing to be negated. We say that in your opinion, in your paksha, in your mata, in your philosophy, there is nothing to be negated because both are real. He says, no. Abheda, knowledge of Vedamsha negates the knowledge of Vedamsha. Therefore, there is something to be negated. Iti asankya viparityasyapi sambhavat maevam. Then the viparit also can be there. That one can negate the other one. Therefore, maevam vayati. So Bhashyakara says, Uvaya satyatayam he katham ekatva jnanena nanatva jnanam apanudyate iti uchyate. Uvaya satyatayam. If Veda Jnanam also is Satyam, Aveda Jnanam also is Satyam, then Katham, how? Ekatva Jnanena Nanatva Jnanam Apanudyate is falsified. If Ekatva Jnanam also is true, Nanatva Jnanam also is true, then how can one knowledge falsify, one valid knowledge falsify another valid knowledge? How do you say then? That the knowledge of non-duality falsifies the knowledge of duality. How can you say that? If according to you, the duality also is real, then knowledge of duality also is real. If Nanatvam is real, then knowledge of Nanatvam also is real. Then how can knowledge of Ekatvam falsify the knowledge of Nanatvam? Doesn't make sense. What you say does not make sense at all. And therefore, the interpretation of Shruti is that there is no vyavahara for the wise person when he sees the non-duality as only reality. Until this knowledge takes place, there is a vyavahara only in the realm of ignorance. So vyavahara is only in the realm of ignorance, and there is no vyavahara when the knowledge takes place. This is the Vedanta's position. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Tau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. આજે હનુમાન જયંતિ